Okay, I will restart. Welcome to session two. Today, we are focusing on qualitative research, how to ensure credibility and follow global standards when studying educational settings. Qualitative research is about understanding the meaning and experience behind the numbers. Let's begin. This is the first part of our table of contents. We will start with the value and characteristics of qualitative research. Then we will look at data collection method like interviews. We will explore research paradigms and the crucial concept of truthworthiness and its criteria. We will also cover qualitative data analysis and its applications in the Philippine education context. The second part is more technical. We will cover coding and theme development. We will discuss analysis software and different analysis methodologies, such as a narrative and case study. Then we will focus on triangulation and the very important topic of researcher reflexivity. Finally, we will discuss best practice and publishing. By the end of this session, you should achieve 5 goals. 1. Understand the value of qualitative research. 2. Master data collection method, like developing interview protocols. Third, learn systematic analysis techniques like coding. 4. Understand and document researcher reflexivity. And 5. Ensure trustworthiness using standards like Lincoln and Guba's criteria. We saw this comparison earlier, but let's quickly review the differences. Quantitative research focuses on numbers, test hypotheses, and seek generalization. It asks how many. Qualitative research focused on meaning, explores phenomena, and seek in-depth understanding. It asks why and how. What is qualitative research? Now, let's explore that qualitative research is and why it's valuable for education studies. What is qualitative research? It is an in-depth understanding of educational phenomena. It is about exploring meanings, processes, and context. It studies participants' experiences and perspectives as they actually are. It involves interpretive analysis of language, behavior, and interaction. It focuses on the why and how rather than how many. Key characteristics include its inductive research that builds theory from data. It is context dependent, focusing on situational understanding. It uses naturalistic settings, real classroom, real schools. The researcher is the instrument central to data collection. It provides a thick description with detailed, nuanced account. It takes a holistic perspective with comprehensive views. And it has emergent design that evolved during research. Think about education in the Philippines. Numbers can tell us that test courses are low, but qualitative research tells us why. What challenges teachers face, what students experience, what context matter. Both are important, but qualitative research gives us a deep understanding we need for real solutions. This method is vital for your field. It helps in understanding classroom culture and teacher-student relationships. It helps in exploring policy implementation and how teachers apply policies. It uncovers in-depth learner experiences and provides student perspectives. And it addresses questions unique to the Philippine education context. A good qualitative research question is key. It should focus on how, why, and what. It must be open-ended to capture rich data. Good examples are how do teachers implement MTB, MLE, or what does education mean to rural students? Poor examples are too quantitative. How effective is it? Or too simple. Are teachers satisfied? We use truthworthiness instead of traditional validity and reliability. Credibility means result actually reflect experiences. Method include member checking. Transferability means the research is applicable to other contexts, achieved by thick description. Dependability means the process is consistent, ensured by an audit trail and peer review. Conformability means findings are based on data helped by reflexivity. Qualitative research is rooted in different paradigms. Interpreticism assumes social reality is subjectively constructed and focuses on participants' meaning making. Constructivism believes knowledge is socially constructed and learning occurs through social interaction. Critical theory examines power relations and inequality, aiming for social change. We look at three types here. Phenomenology explores the essence of lived uh, experiences. Grounded theory generates theory from systematic data analysis. Ethnography is an in-depth study of culture and groups, requiring extended field work and immersion. Let me introduce the main types of qualitative research. Phenomenology. This explores the essence of lived experiences. It focuses on individual perceptions and asks, what is it like to experience this? For example, you might study a novice teacher's first year. What does it feel like? What challenges do they face? How do they make sense of their experience? And second, grounded theory. This generates theory from systematic data analysis using constant comparative method. You don't start with a theory, you develop one from your data. For example, you might study classroom management and develop a theory about how effective teachers build authority based on what you observe and hear. And the third, ethnography. This is an in-depth study of culture and groups, requiring extended fieldwork and immersion. You become part of the community you are studying. For example, you might spend months in a rural school community to understand how culture shapes education, observing daily life, participating in activities, understanding from the inside. Each approach had different purposes and methods, but all seek deep understanding of educational phenomena. And two more types are common. Case study is an intensive exploration of specific bounded cases, useful for understanding unique educational phenomena. Narrative inquiry focuses on individual stories and experiences. These are applied to topics like understanding school reform. Case study. This is an intensive examination of a specific bounded case. It could be a single person, a classroom, a school, or a program. It is useful for understanding unique educational phenomena. You do in-depth investigation of a particular instance. You can use single case or multiple case designs. You examine real-life context. For example, you might analyze one innovative school to understand the unique educational phenomena or study how a particular reform was implemented in one district. And narrative inquiry, this focuses on individual stories and experiences. You collect and analyze personal narratives, the story people tell about their lives and work. You emphasize chronology and sequence, how things unfold over time. You value participant voice and perspective deeply. For example, you might study teacher life history research to understand how teachers develop their teaching philosophy or explore personal meaning in educational experiences. These approaches are particularly applied to topics like understanding school reform implementation, exploring teacher professional development journey, examining students' learning experiences, investing educational leadership practices, analyzing curriculum development processes, and studying educational policy impact at local level. Which type of research interests you most for your own studies? Qualitative studies are highly relevant to the Philippines, I think. Examples include integration of indigenous knowledge systems, teacher identify in multilingual classrooms, student experiences of poverty and resilience, community involvement in education programs, and implementation of depth edu policies. We have diverse methods. In-depth interviews explore individual experiences. Focus group discussions capture multiple perspectives at once. Participant observation captures natural behavior in the field. Document analysis uses materials like policies and student work. We can also use visual data like student drawings. Interviewing is the most common data collection method in qualitative research. There are three types. First, structured interviews. These use fixed questions in a set order with standardized administration. Every participant gets exactly the same questions in the same way. This offers limited flexibility but ensures consistency. This is useful when you need to compare responses directly. Second, semi-structured interviews. And this is the most common type in qualitative research. You have a question guide, but remain flexible. You can follow interesting topics that emerge during conversation. You balance structure with exploration. You ensure you cover key topics while allowing participants to share what matters to them. For example, you might have 10 main questions, but ask follow-up questions based on what participants say. And the third, unstructured interviews. These use a conversational approach with free-flowing dialogue. You might start with just one broad question and see where the conversation goes. This is suitable for exploratory research when you are discovering new territory. For most education research, semi-structured interviews work best. They give you the flexibility to explore while ensuring you collect the data you need. An interview protocol ensures consistency. Good questions must be open-ended, use clear language, and be neutral. Avoid yes or no question, double-barreled questions, and leading questions. Use different types of opening, main, and probing questions. Your skills are crucial. Maintain a good interviewer attitude, like active listening and empathy, and effective techniques like probing. Tell me more about that and preparing. So you mean be mindful of cultural considerations, such as using a courtesy term, po, in the Philippine context. Let me show you a concrete example of interview questions for starting novice teacher experience. Sample questions for novice teacher might include, could you describe your first day as a teacher? What was the most challenging moment in your first year? How did you overcome that difficulty? What support did you receive from senior teachers? How has your teaching philosophy evolved since you started? What advice would you give to new teachers? Notice these are open-ended questions. They don't have yes or no answers. They invite storytelling and detailed responses. Now, effective probing techniques are crucial. When participants give you answers, you need to dig deeper. Use follow-up questions. Could you tell me more about that situation? How did you feel when that happened? Can you give a specific example of that? What do you mean when you say it was difficult? What's going through your mind at the time? How did others respond to your approach? These prompts help you get rich, detailed data. Don't accept surface answers. When a teacher say, it was challenging, ask, what made it challenging? Can you describe a specific moment? This is how you move from general statement to the deep understanding qualitative research needs. Focus group dis- discussions or FGD or focus group interviews, FGI, are another valuable data collection method. Advantages of focus group discussions: you get interaction and discussion among participants. People build on each other's ideas. You understand shared group perspectives, not just individual views. It is time and cost efficient data collection. You get data from multiple people at once. It reveals social dynamics and group norms, how people influence each other, what acceptable to say. FGD composition, typically 6 to 10 people per group. Small enough for everyone to participate, large enough for diverse views. Duration is 60 to 9 minutes, optimal length. Longer than that, people get tired. Use homogeneous groups. For example, all grade 7 teachers together, or all parents of multilingual students. This helps people feel comfortable sharing. Choose a comfortable, neutral setting where people feel safe to speak honestly. Your facilitator role is crucial. Facilitate discussion without dominating. You are a guide, not a lecture. Ensure all participants contribute throughout quiet voices, managing dominant speakers. Keep conversation focused on topic without being rigid. Manage group dynamics and power relations. If one person dominates, redirect to others. Education research examples. You might study students' online learning experience during the pandemic. Teachers' opinions on curriculum revision. Parents' school participation experiences. Community perspectives on educational policies. FGI work well when you want to understand group dynamics and shared perspectives, not just individual experiences. Participant observation is another important data collection method where the research enters the field to observe and sometimes participate in activities. Where are the different levels of observation on a spectrum? At one end, complete participant, the researcher fully participates, hiding their identity with ethical concerns about deception. Then participant as observer, you observe while participating in activities. You are open about your roles as a researcher. In the middle, observer as participant. You mainly observe with minimal participation. You are known as a researcher, but you participate enough to understand the context. At the other end, complete observer. You only observe without any participation. This is like one-way observation where participants may not even know you are watching. Why is that appropriate for education? Level 2 to 3 are most suitable for education research. You can be a participant as observer. For example, a teacher researching their own classroom practices, or observer as participants, like observing teaching method in a school. This approach lets you examine real behavior in virtual classroom settings. You can balance between participation and observation. You consider impact on natural behavior. Your uh, presence will affect what happens, but you minimize disruption. The key is being transparent about your role while gathering authentic data about what actually happens in educational settings. Your field notes are vital data. You need to type descriptive note, an objective record of what happened, and reflective note, your thought, interpretations, and theoretical memos. Always write them as soon as possible and separate description and from interpretation. Document analysis examined existing written materials as data sources. Types of document you can analyze include policy documents like DepEd, orders and regulations, curriculum materials, textbook, lesson plans, syllabi, school documents, memo, reports, meeting minutes, student work samples, essay, projects, test papers, teacher journals and reflections, school website and newsletters. When analyzing document, ask these analysis questions. What is the proposed context? Who created it and when? What assumptions are embedded in the document? What values are missing or emphasized? What does it relate to practice? Does what's written match or what actually happens? Documents have several advantages. It is non-intrusive data collection. You don't disturb anyone. You can track change over time by comparing documents from different periods. Document complement interviews and observations. What people say, what people observe, and what's written may differ, and that difference is interesting. They provide official and institutional perspectives on policies and practices. For example, you might analyze DepEd curriculum guide to understand the official policy. Then interview teachers to see how they interpret it. And then observe classroom to see actual implementation. The gaps between these three sources tell you important things about Philippine education. Ethics is paramount. Ensure informed consent is voluntary and clearly explained. Use parental consent plus student assent for students. Be aware of power relations and avoid corruption. Use uh, pseudonyms for anonymity and confidentiality. And follow the rule to do no harm and protect vulnerable populations. After collecting data through interviews and observations, you need to record and transcribe it properly. And not so long ago, this recording transcription method on this slide were useful. But let me update you on recording and transcription. The landscape has changed dramatically with AI technology. The traditional approach required manual description taking 4 to 6 hours for each 1 hour interview. But now, AI tools have revolutionized this process. Modern AI powered tools you can use, service like Auto.ai, Whisper by OpenAI, and Naver Clover Note provide automatic transcription with a high accuracy, even in multiple languages. Many can transcribe in real time during the interview. They generate summarized automatically, identify key themes and quotes. Some tools even translate between languages, useful if you interview in Filipino but write in English. Best practice with AI tools. Always inform participants you are using AI transcription and review and edit AI transcription. They are good but not perfect, especially with Filipino accent for Tagalog terms. Check accuracy of names, places, and technical terms. Save original audio file as backup. Don't rely only on transcriptions. What you should focus on instead. Rather than spending days on manual transcription, invest your time in deeper analysis. Use the time saved to conduct more interviews or do richer interpretation. Focus on understanding meaning, not just typing words. For practical tips, many smartphones now have built-in transcription features. Google Recorder, iPhone voice memos with transcription. These are free and quite accurate. And Naver Clover Note works well with mixed English and Korean speech. The technology is there to help you. Use it wisely, but always verify accuracy and maintain ethical standards about data stories and participant consent. An information concept in qualitative research is data saturation, knowing when you have enough data. What is the data saturation? It is the point where no new information emerges from additional data collection. When collecting more data becomes redundant, participants are saying the same things. It means data saturation signals that you have gathered sufficient information to answer your research questions. How do you know you've reached saturations? Look for the indicators. Participants repeat similar stories and experiences. Themes and patterns stabilize, no new themes emerging. No new code being generated during analysis. Dismissing returns from new data. You are not learning anything new. Your ability to create coherent analysis is achieved. Sample size guidelines to aim for phenomenology, typically 10 to 15 participants are sufficient. Grounded theory usually needs 20 to 30 participants to develop a theory. Case study uses 4 to 10 cases depending on complexity. For ethnography, it is not about number of people, but depth. You might spend months with one community. Remember, there's no fixed rule. It depends on your research question and the richness of your data. In qualitative research, quality matters more than quantity. 10 rich detailed interviews are better than 30 superficial ones. Focus on depth understanding, not just counting participants. The analysis process has 5 systematic steps. 1. Preparing data. 2. Formalizing and coding. 3. Finding themes. 4. Reviewing. 5. Writing up. Let's begin the qualitative analysis part with coding. Coding is the process labeling meaningful units of data to identify patterns. We use types of code like in Vivo codes, the participants' exact words. Coding has levels. First cycle is detailed labeling, and second cycle is identifying broader patterns. This slide shows a coding example. You take raw interview data, like a teacher discussing a top first year, and break it down. For instance, really top is coded as novice challenges, and teacher next door helped is coded as colleague support. This process helps codes reach to emerging themes. You can code in 2 ways. Inductive coding is bottom-up, where codes emerge from the data itself. And deductive coding is top-down, using predetermined code based on existing theory. A mixed theory approach is often most practical. You start with an initial framework, but are open to new discoveries. After coding, you move thematic analysis. A theme is a meaningful pattern across data that tells part of the overall story. A good theme must be supported by sufficient data and be clear and distinct. Examples are survival mode and cultural bliss. A code book is essential for consistency. It must include 4 things: the code name, the detailed code definition, and inclusion criteria, and example courts. An important methodological tool is exclusion criteria. Clear rules for what data or participant you exclude from your study. Why do we need exclusion criteria? They ensure methodological rigor and keep your research focused. They help you maintain validity by setting clear boundaries around your study. For example, if you are studying teacher resilience, you might exclude teachers with less than 1 year of experience because they are still in the initial adjustment phase. Data about salary uh, complaints. If your focus is on pedagogical challenges, not academic issues. Participants who didn't complete the full interview process. The main advantage of using a code book with clear exclusion criteria is that it maintains coding consistency throughout your analysis. This is especially important for collaborative research when multiple researchers are coding the same data. It creates a reliable audit trail. You can show exactly why you made each decision about including or excluding data. Be systemic and transparent. Document your exclusion criteria clearly before you begin analysis. When you exclude something, note why. This strengthens your research credibility and allow others to understand and evaluate your decision. You can software to manage data. Major options include NBivo and Atlas.ti. There are also free alternatives like QDA Minor Lite. Remember, software is just a tool, not the analyst. Use it to organize large data sets. Manual analysis is fine for small projects. Narrative research focuses on individual stories and examines temporal sequence and plot. Analysis approaches include structure and thematic. This is very useful for studying teacher life history or student learning journeys. In case study analysis, a case is a specific unit with clear boundaries, like one school or one program. Analysis strategies include within case analysis and cross case analysis. It is great for examining an innovative school in the Philippines. Triangulation strengthens credibility. Methodological triangulation use multiple methods, interview plus observation. Data source triangulation collects data from different participants, teachers, students. Investor triangulation use multiple researchers to code independently. Theory triangulation analyze data through multiple theoretical lenses. This example shows methodological triangulation in our study of classroom management. You compare interview data, school teacher belief with observation data, actual behavior, and document analysis, official policies. This is how you confirm a finding with various methods. Now, for a crucial topic, reflexivity. It is critical examination of the researcher's position and influence on the research. It is crucial because the researcher is the main instrument. Reflexivity is a deeper process than simple reflection because it involves a critical analysis of your role. You must clearly state your personality, positionality. Who are you and what is your relationships with the topic? An inside researcher has deep understanding but must maintain objectivity. On outside research has a fresh perspective but needs time for trust building. Include your positionality in your class dissertation. All researchers have biases. Complete objectivity is impossible. You must recognize and record biases. Use self-questioning techniques. What result do I expect or hope for? Use a reflective journal to regularly record thought and check for bias when analyzing data. Be aware of power dynamics. Use member checking to confirm analysis results with participants by asking, did I understand correctly? And collaborate research is a highly ethical approach where participants are co-researchers. Your reflexive journal should include 3 types of memos: methodological memos, documents, interviews, techniques, and improvements. Technical memos record emerging patterns and connections to theories. Personal reflections acknowledge emotional responses and identify assumptions. We will now do a workshop activity to practice. The goal are to practice coding skills, recognize interpretation differences, and value peer review. We will do individual coding first and then group discussion to compare code and find consensus. I recommend you this activity after my lecture with your colleague. Here is the sample transcript for coding about a student online learning experience. Read the text carefully. The coding challenge is to identify code for aspects like lack of concentration, home distractions, and social isolation. After your coding, you can group your code into themes. For this script, 3 themes emerge: technical barriers, social isolation, and learning environment. This demonstrates the final stage of thematic analysis. Use this quality checklist for data collection. Did you reach data saturation? For analysis, was your coding systematic? And did you use triangulation? And for trustworthiness, did you provide thick description and reflexivity record? And for reporting, did you include a positionally statement and transparent methodology? To conclude our comparison, quantitative research focused on reliability and validity and used large random samples for statistical generalization. And qualitative research focused on trustworthiness criteria, uses small purpose samples for contextual transferability, and thematic analysis. When writing your research, organize by themes. The effective use for quotes is essential. They are the evidence supporting your claims and convey vivid participant voices. Integrate quotes smoothly into your text to exemplify your points. For publishing, target qualitative research-friendly journals like Qualitative Inquiry. Reviewers look for methodological rigor, systematic analysis, and truthworthiness efforts. Be aware of three main challenges. One, time-consuming process. Two, subjectivity and bias. Three, limitations of generalization. Mixed method research is the integration of qualitative plus quantitative method to provide a more complete understanding. Design type include convergence, quantitative plus qualitative simultaneously, and sequential. First quantitative and then qualitative, or first qualitative and then quantitative. It addresses the limitations of a single method and enhances practical applications. Here are some recommended resources for essential reading. I suggest this reference. Look for online resources and software learning. Also check Philippine context guidelines from CHED or Philippine Social Science Council, I think. This slide features an exemplary research paper on becoming a teacher in rural Philippines. It uses a phenomenally logical approach and demonstrates strong methodological strengths like member checking and systematic analysis. These papers like this as models. Okay, this is a Q&A session. Feel free, send me message. And this is summarize the key takeaway. Yeah, please read it, this material. And here are your optional assignment. I recommend develop an interview protocol with 10 to 15 questions and coding practice. Find a qualitative paper and practice coding techniques. And third, reflective journal. Record your research journey and reflect on positionality. These activities will be very helpful for your thesis. Thank you for your attention.
That was truly an enlightening discussion, Professor Lee, and so